G'day everyone, it's Bo from Growthwise. In our accounting businesses, quite a regular question that we need to answer is which of our Xero organisations have been reconciled to a particular date. Now, for those of us that aren't accountants or bookkeepers, when we say reconciled, what we're actually talking about is making sure that all of your bank account transactions are coded and all of the Xero accounting entries have been done to a particular date so that we know that your figures are as up to date as possible. So what we're going to go through in this video is just checking the bank transactions, so not a full reconciliation, but really the hinge point before you can actually dive in and do any other work. So let's get stuck into it and I'll show you some of the different ways that we approach this. All right, the first method that we're going to go through is using the Xero uncoded statement lines report. So you can see we're in the Xero demo file at the moment. To get to that report, we're going to click on accounting, then reports, and then we're going to search for the uncoded statement lines report here. And you can see by default it's set the date to June and we don't have any uncoded statement lines for that period across both bank accounts. Now the reason why we use this report as opposed to the bank reconciliation reports that are available is this will show you every bank account that's in Xero and whether there's any uncoded transactions. When you use the bank reconciliation report, yes, it does give you closing balances, calculated statement balances, but you have to do it one by one. So if you're trying to get a really quick answer on have all the transactions been coded, you can actually come into here, set the date range for a period and get that answer. Okay, I just wanted to give the example of what it looks like when there are uncoded transactions. So I'm going to extend the date range out to the end of July and hit run. And you can now see that we do have the list of transactions that are uncoded across both bank accounts. So our business savings account, there's nothing to worry about, but our business bank account, there are a lot of transactions that still need to be reconciled. Now, a good tip, if you are on the Xero reconciliation screen, say if you're doing this for one of your clients and you're unsure of a few things, in the discuss box, if you actually write a comment and save it, it will show on this report. So if you wanted to send this to your client and actually show that you've made some sort of an effort to actually figure out what transaction needs to be coded or what it belongs to, you can actually write the comments and then you can export it to either PDF or CSV before you send it on to someone if you're asking for, say, additional paperwork. So it's a really good, useful report for that, and it's really simple to read. Moving along now, the last thing that I wanted to show everyone is that if you're a Xero practice user, you can actually use this report and extract it over multiple organizations at once. Now, the way to do that is if you click this button here, you can then select the last option, bulk download across all orgs. You'll then get a list that pops up. If you want to do it across every organization that you have, you can tick on this button, click on done, set the date range that you want to set, and then go to export as PDF or CSV, and that will begin the process. So if you do need these reports across multiple organizations, that's the easiest way of doing it. The uncoded statement lines report, as you've been able to see, is very easy to read and very easy to extract across multiple organizations if you need to. The downside of it is though, even if you do extract all of the data across all of the organizations that you need, the end result is you still need to manually check those files to see if things are coded up to date, or you still need to go into each Xero organization and just confirm it. So we decided to attack that problem by using robotic process automation. So what we actually set up for that is a robot that would go into Xero, it would run the uncoded statement lines report for every single organization that we specified, and then it would give us an output, which is this spreadsheet here. This is a previous result that we've done, that then just gave us all of the result sets of who had uncoded or coded lines. So I've hidden the client names for obvious reasons in here, but you can see here that we got a full report, and to actually filter it and get the answer that we wanted, we can just say no uncoded lines, and we know the date range that was specified. So from here, we then knew that we could then proceed with something like a business activity statement and do the rest of the reconciliation work that we needed to complete. Now, you're probably thinking that's pretty good, but as things change, there's better methods. So one of the next things that I'm going to go through is a way that you can do this without robotic process automation that makes things much more easier. So what's the easier way of actually getting the answer to this question? In January of this year, Xero released Client Insights, and Client Insights gives you a vast amount of information across your client base, but one of the really interesting and useful things that it gives you is bank reconciliation status. Now, to access Client Insights in either Xero HQ or Xero Practice Manager, all you need to do is click on the Insights button, and then that will take you into Xero Client Insights. If you haven't used Xero Client Insights before, the first time you enter into it, it may take a few minutes to generate all of the data. And then by default as well, you're going to see a lot more information than what I have displayed here because I've hidden a lot of the columns. But I'm just going to leave that up quickly just so that everyone can see all of the different options that you've got for displaying across your entire client base that you can also filter from as well. If we look up the top, we can actually choose periods. So we can't choose any month. It's the current month or the previous month. So there is a little bit of a limitation of date there. But if there's anything prior to that, you're still going to be able to see, rather than up to date, it might say slightly out of date, unmaintained, a bunch of different statuses. And you'll also have the amount of unreconciled items and the balance out by percentage. So the balance out by percentage is really useful because you might have someone that's got one transaction that's unreconciled, but it's going to have a huge impact percentage-wise on figures. So it's really useful to be able to see that from here. But as you can see, for the answer of the question that we were trying to look at before is, are all of the transactions coded? All we need to do is click this button and we can filter everything. So I've deliberately filtered it to show up to date, and we can see here that we've got that whole list. And then if we wanted to go into that Xero organization and start our processing, we just need to click on this button and then say go to Xero. Pretty good, pretty easy. There is one downside to it though, and that is this list is not exportable currently, but I'm going to show you a workaround so that you can get that list out if you need it. As I just mentioned, the Client Insights page currently doesn't have an export function, or at least I haven't been able to find any buttons on it anywhere that tells me that I can export. And when I search for the word export on the page, I can't find it. The simplest way to get the data out is you can just copy and paste it into an Excel spreadsheet, for example. Now, if you've ever done that before off a website, you'll realize that it doesn't always format the way that you want. And then also, if you try and highlight for certain places, for example here, nothing actually works. So what we did instead is we've set up some JavaScript that we used Grok 4 to help generate, which will actually download a list in CSV that has the client name and the bank reconciliation status. So I'm going to slow down a little bit now, and I'm going to talk through how you can do this because we have made the script publicly available. So if you wanted to try it on your own data, you'll be able to do it. So first, we're going to jump into our GrowthWise GitHub. From here, we're going to click on Xero Tools. It does have some of the other things that we worked on in the past, such as the bulk payslip downloader. There is another video for that if you want to see it, but the one that we're going to look at today is insights_client extractor. And then now we have the code that's visible. So once we're on this page, what we're going to do, jump back into Client Insights, and we're going to extend the amount of clients that are shown on the page. Now, the reason why we're doing this is this script will only extract what is visible on the page. So it's not the same as when you do an export, say from the bank or something like that, where you actually say, okay, this is the long set of data that I want, you get absolutely everything. This script is only able to extract what is physically visible. So once we're here, what we're going to do is right click on the page and then go to inspect, which is going to open up this. Now it's going to look a little bit daunting. Don't worry too much about that. It's not a big deal. This is just the code behind Xero and how everything actually works. What we're going to do from here, what I normally like to do is type in console.clear down the bottom and press enter. Just gets rid of everything, makes it all easier to sort of follow along. If this is the first time you've used this, you'll also need to type in allow pasting and press enter. This allows you to actually copy and paste the code that we already have in GitHub and run it for yourself. So if we jump into the GitHub again, we just need to click on this button that says copy raw file. That copies all of the code that we have here. We're going to jump back into the Client Insights tab. We're going to paste it. All of the code's now available, and now all we need to do is press enter. So you can see now that we've just downloaded that CSV. Now, the code that we've come up with is only extracting the client name and the bank reconciliation status. You can expand it out. That's why we've put it in GitHub, so that if anyone wants to try this or actually expand on it yourself, you can use an AI tool like Claude, Grok 4. Grok 4 is what we use for this, ChatGPT, any of the ones that are available to try and expand upon it. So the reason why we wanted that list out is once we have that list and that data, we can then use it for other things. So say for example, in Carbon, we have workflow statuses set up for our June business activity statements. We can now use the data that tells us that all of our clients are up to date and push that data back into Carbon and say, move these job statuses from say planned to BAS draft status so our whole team knows what they can start work on. Well, there you go. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you. The reason why we wanted to share this video the way that we have is we quite often get asked, how do we do process automation? How do we actually start? What are the things that we can try? So as you can see here, we started with, let's look at the uncoded statement lines report. And then from there, we iterated and went, okay, what can it do and what can't it do? What can we then do with the data that we have? And then as the market and as Xero's evolved, we've been able to find another way of actually attacking the exact same problem. So that's why we wanted to share this and show the methodology from the start up to where we are now, just so that everyone's aware that you may start with something and think it's great, but be aware that there is tools in the market or Xero itself that evolves that makes things easier. So if this video has been helpful for you, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe. Cheers.